Hello everyone, my name is John Tillman, and this is a webinar or a guide of using strategies and tactics of teaching online. This webinar is specifically for the Office of Distance Education and Online Learning. I am an assistant professor of history. I teach in the Department of History and Political Science at Tuskegee University. I've been teaching online now for 2 years for the Office of Distance Education and Online Learning. In this webinar on instruction, we'll deal with audio visuals. Two very important audio visuals I'm going to discuss is podcasts, and YouTube video lectures. Now, the whole purpose of audio visuals using YouTube and podcasts is to have convenience in terms of discussing course information material between the course instructor and the students. The purpose is to help the students understand the course material and how to navigate and operate Blackboard by using these two systems. Okay. First system I will talk about is the podcast. The second will be the YouTube. First with the podcast. For your podcast should be used for audio lectures only. And the first thing you want to do is, one, you want to prepare your lecture first. Make sure that your lecture is at least 9 to 10 minutes, no more than 12 for a podcast. Okay. Then you want to select a free podcast app. My suggestion I would select is SoundCloud. Now you would have to pay some minutes after using a certain amount, but SoundCloud I would say I would prefer because it's more easier to use. Okay. Now, next thing you want to do is that you want to learn how to operate SoundCloud. Okay, create an account with SoundCloud, learn how to operate it, and how you do a podcast is that you press upload. And as you press upload, you want to press something called start new recording. As you start new recording, you pretty much go to a certain page where you get to select your audio and visuals, and you press start recording. Okay, make sure that your audio works. Make sure that the microphone on your laptop works. After you press start recording, then after that, you go ahead and you proceed by reading your podcast. Very easy. Make sure that your podcast is at least 10 minutes, no more than 12. Then you upload your podcast, but give it a title, a name, a description. Then after you upload it, you want to make sure that students have availability to that on Blackboard. So if it must be possible for you to convert your SoundCloud to an MP3. Pick a website where you can convert your SoundCloud podcast to an MP3. Make sure that the podcast does not have a history of viruses and malware that can easily affect your laptop. And then as you convert that, voila, you can have that available for your students on towards Blackboard. And by that is, in case they're going through a week of a lecture and they can't understand the textbook or the documentary clearly, at least they had that podcast to listen to get them more familiar, to get some familiarity with the subject matter and to get your viewpoints on it so they can read and understand the material. Second you want to use is the YouTube. YouTube is different from the podcast because with the podcast, it's just audio. There's no visual towards it. They can't see you. With YouTube, it's both audio and visual. They get to hear and see you. Now, this right here is also very convenient, not just for video lectures, but also it helps. You can make videos and help students how to navigate Blackboard, understand the course material, and how to operate it as well. I mean, this is very important. And for YouTube, it, like the podcast, is also very important in terms of interaction between students and the professor. It's like you're there in a classroom, but yet you're online. That's what makes it better. So for YouTube, it's to be used for really 2 occasions. And that 2 occasions pretty much is navigation and lectures. Now, first we'll deal with the navigation. In terms of dealing with the navigation, It pretty much helps students how to navigate Blackboard, how to locate assignments, how to locate these discussion boards, how to locate the tests, reading materials, online video lectures, and more importantly, how to submit their assignments properly by their due dates. For example, you have students who create their assignments and they type in the comments section. Well, here's where a navigation video comes to play. You can teach them how to navigate Blackboard, teach them which sections to go into, which weeks to go into, how to locate certain material. Let's say you go into week 1. You show them a video of how to navigate, how to get access to the textbook, how to get access to the assignments. Let's say you click on the assignments. You have a video that shows them that you must click on Write Text Submission button. And by showing them a video, they now have a visual of how to look at what is the comment section, where to type in the information, and how to properly submit it. And also, and this is very important, you know, they can go back and watch it. It gives them familiarity with Blackboard. And it also gives them familiarity with third-party systems. Let's say if you're using a MindTap, or you're using a McGraw-Hill login, or using a Prentice Hall Launchpad. You can also create a video lecture of how to navigate those as well, how to locate either the information being embedded within your Blackboard or the links and go into the information itself. It gives them better clarity of how to operate Blackboard. I recommend this specifically for first-time Blackboard students. I mean, well, really first-time online students. Students who are taking online courses for the first time, and this is very important in order to prevent any confusion at all. Also, the navigation is also good for also introduction, making videos to introduce yourself towards the classroom. The second most important part is the lectures. You can use YouTube videos to create a lecture. Now, this helps the students to identify key facts and concepts of the weekly lesson. Okay, so, and by giving your lecture, very similar to a podcast, this time they'll be seeing you. Okay, and it's like the student being in the virtual classroom and being with the professor. Now, here's what I would suggest. First, I would suggest that in order to use YouTube lectures, first thing you do is create a YouTube channel account. After you create a YouTube channel account, you want to create an easier way of recording your lectures and uploading towards YouTube. So I would suggest you use Screenomatic. Screenomatic is easy to use. Now, much like your podcast, your video lectures must be at least 10 minutes, no more than 15. As a matter of fact, Screenomatic has a time limit. You can go no more than 15 minutes. Now, it's free, it's easy to use, and you can easily upload it towards your YouTube channel. Now, here's what's very important. Now, and you must know how to operate Screenomatic. And sometimes it's best to use one of your PowerPoint lectures and have your face in with the PowerPoint lecture so you can share both your face and the PowerPoint and use the cursor. It's very easy. But then again, your choice of video lecture is up to you. You also have the choice of uploading the video towards your YouTube channel, where you can convert it, or as an MP4 towards your laptop. That's the variety of options that Screenomatic gives you. Here's something that will be of major importance for those who are using audio visuals for podcasts and YouTube. One, you have to make sure that your lectures and your speaking is from 10 minutes, no more than 15. Then you have to subscribe for you, especially for YouTube. You have to subscribe closed captioning. So if you subscribe closed captioning, it's fine. If not, you may have to write out your lecture or create a PowerPoint where all the words are on there for the students who are hearingly impaired. Okay. But one of the major importance of both YouTube and podcasts is utilizing, well, a number of things. Okay, in conclusion, you want to utilize how convenient these are in terms of interacting with students. Also, you also want to utilize using different methods of teaching in order to allow students to understand. Here's another point. You also want to start making sure that these students actually watch the videos and actually watch the or listen to the podcast. So make that a very important note. My name is John Tillman, and that concludes this webinar on audio visuals and YouTube and podcasts. Good day.